Hey, I was just on WBBM radio talking about the stimulus plan, talking about ADP numbers, and then talking a little bit about the weather, believe it or not. So just really quickly, so the ADP numbers on jobs, they were down significantly from where they were before. They were expecting 225. They came in at 117 for February. No one should be surprised by this because why? Because we were all shivering someplace in the middle of the country because of how cold it was at that time. I know here in Chicago it was just ridiculously cold, and it was so hard to even think about going outside. So where were the job losses? In construction and manufacturing. That should surprise nobody. Obviously, that's what happens when it gets really cold out. You can't really go out and do any work outside. Other than that, I think these numbers for February, you can just dismiss them for jobs, especially the one that's coming out on Friday. I think we're expecting non-farm payroll to be 210,000, but it really doesn't matter. The big number, the important numbers to keep in mind are this. Vaccinations, right? 25% of the population in the United States has been vaccinated. Another 8% have really gotten the antibodies that probably don't need the vaccination. That's a third of the country. And J&J's one-shot wonder is really awesome because they're going to deliver 20 million of these vaccinations by the end of March, 100 million by the beginning of June. And that's why President Biden came out and said yesterday that he expects the adult population in the United States to be vaccinated by that time. What does that mean? It means reopening all of the bars and restaurants. It means the ability to travel. It means leisure and hospitality will all be positively impacted by this. Job gains you'll see there. So that's, again, wrapping this back to what the employment numbers were. Just put them aside. Who cares right now? I mean, yeah, they're not as good as what you expected, but it really doesn't make a big deal. Now, on to the stimulus. The stimulus, which is going to get taken up and probably voted on tonight, they're still looking at $1.9 trillion in the Senate. That's where it is right now. Over the weekend on Saturday, the House passed it at $1.9 trillion. The modifications to it from the Senate are going to be on the who qualifies for the $1,400 checks. I think they're going to reduce those down from like $150,000 per family to $80,000, and they will be more targeted. But the thing is then they can take that money and reallocate it to different parts of where they wanted to spend before. You may get money for rural broadband, and you may get money for hospitals as well. But again, the number that I keep seeing is 1.9 trillion. It's still massive. And again, just to remind everybody, what's insane about this is that we are already growing somewhere between 5 to 10% of GDP right now. I'm not kidding, that big of a gap there between 5% to 10% GDP in the first quarter. So do we really need this? I don't think so. And the $350 billion that's going out to the states, that's kind of crazy because what's happening in the states right now, they're running budget surpluses because the economy's growing and because the stock market's gone up, so people are paying more taxes. So, and real estate obviously has gone up significantly as well. So, like, why do we need to spend that money out to $350 billion to these states? I think here in Illinois, I know where that money's going to go. Remember that the money, $280 million plus, that went to Chicago, went to pay policemen and for overtime. So that really didn't go to helping people out as far as COVID goes and stimulating spending. So that's the problem with giving $350 billion out to the states and local governments. That's where it'll probably end up. All right, so we've seen a spike in bond yields. They're back up to the 10 years back up to 148. Passing this bill will continue to drive those up higher. I think the Fed is comfortable for with that, and that's why I wrote last week that the stock market has a problem and it's higher interest rates. So if you want to read more about that, or if you want to check that out, that's at andrewbush.com. Click on the research button and you can check that out. All right, I'm Andy Bush. Thanks for watching. Lots going on in the world.